It all kicks off in a classroom at Jiangqing High, right as the big unified exam is about to begin. The teacher, Mr. Chen Fan, tells his students to get their gear ready for the upcoming tests. The teacher stresses that the martial arts exam is extremely dangerous and definitely not recommended for anyone with weak powers. Just then, our main character, Zhu Jingming, reveals that he was actually transmigrated into this world. This new place is technologically similar to his old one, but it's crawling with terrifying and dangerous beasts. However, to fight these creatures, there are awakened, people who use their superpowers to protect everyone. Everyone can awaken their abilities at 16, and the types of powers are as diverse as they are weird. These abilities are split into 9 levels, and most people only manage to learn powers from rank F to D. Thinking about this, our MC remembers his own ability, which is a pretty basic electric power. But his power is only rank E, a weak current with about as much kick as a taser. Suddenly, a classmate asks if he's really going to take the martial arts exam, even after the teacher's warning. The blonde guy calls him trash and says he'll just embarrass the school, suggesting he should become a desk jockey instead. Then a girl named Lin Qingli stands up for our protagonist, telling the bully to mind his own business. Fuming, the blonde kid says he'll show her who's best during the unified test. He then storms off, threatening Zhu Jingming and saying our guy is headed for a tragic end on the testing grounds. The girl tries to console the protagonist, suggesting he choose a safer path within the city. On the application form, education is divided into 2 tracks, liberal arts and martial arts. Those who choose the martial path have to enter dangerous zones to fight against beasts. Only after passing this test can they enter a university and become official ability users. Our MC thinks that even if he dodges the exam, he can't escape the beasts that could attack at any moment. He remembers a past trauma when his parents were taken out during a beast tide. Because of that, he doesn't want to feel powerless and unable to fight back against future threats ever again. So, with the form in hand, he decides he's still going to choose the martial arts exam. Later that day, we see the school building as the sun sets on the horizon. From inside a room, we see the silhouette of our MC, who is training hard with a spear. His hand grips the weapon tightly as he imbues it with his electric power. We see him practicing his moves with the energized spear, pushing himself to get better. After a while of intense training, our MC is completely exhausted and out of breath. He collapses to the floor, totally spent, saying he can't practice anymore for now. Lying down, he reflects that his spear technique makes him a little stronger than other E-class awakened. He thinks about how among martial artists below D-class, the casualty rate increases every year. Determined, the young man clenches his fist and decides to give it his all to get into an awakened university. Just then, a blue screen appears and starts to glow brightly. Suddenly, a system message pops up saying it's activating, and our guy is completely shocked. The screen asks if he wants the beginner's package, and he wonders if this is his long-awaited cheat. Curious, he asks what's in the package and finds out it's an S rank ability and 200 points. Rank power is super rare, and anyone who awakens one becomes a national powerhouse, showered with resources. Realizing the opportunity in his hands, he starts to break out in a cold sweat from a mix of nerves and excitement. He thinks that even as a rank E nobody, he still has a chance to change his destiny. With a confident smile, the protagonist reaches out and accepts the system's gift without a second thought. The system confirms he's redeemed the 200 points and the new Thunder God ability. A powerful energy starts surging through his body, and the guy screams in pain as he's being transformed. Purple and white electricity explodes out of him, creating a sphere of pure energy. The power is so immense that the windows of the training room are completely shattered by the force. Outside, people look on in shock. A kid points out that it's the Big Bro's house, and they all wonder what happened. A worried man calls the fire department, thinking something has happened to the Aiksu family's son. While our MC continues to scream in pain as the transformation progress hits 70%. The sky outside suddenly darkens, and people on the street wonder what on earth is going on. Then, a giant dragon made of lightning appears in the sky above a building, terrifying everyone. From an office, a man feels the pressure and wonders if a powerful beast is invading the city. With a serious expression, this official orders the 3rd Legion of Jiangqing to go on high alert. The energy creature floats in the sky, looking like an imminent threat to the entire city. Our MC lets out a final scream of pain as the transformation finally reaches 100% and is complete. All the energy subsides, and what's left is a room completely wrecked by the sheer force of the power. He then clenches his fist, feeling the new and incredible strength that now runs through his entire body. This is his S-rank power, the Divine Thunder, which is incomparably stronger than his old one. Looking at the mess, the protagonist thinks that he caused a huge commotion and was lucky to get it under control. He remembers he also got 200 ability points and wonders what they're for. Thrilled with this simple and straightforward cheat, he asks the system to open his panel. The screen then displays his name, Zhu Jingming, his new S-rank power, and the 200 points. Our MC decides to use his 200 points to max out his combat power for tomorrow's exam. He understands that powers come from both the physical and the spiritual, so he decides to strengthen those attributes first. With that, the numbers in his attributes start to climb rapidly as he distributes the points. A purple aura completely envelopes him, and he feels the new strength flowing through his whole body. The protagonist feels his energy and circulation improve, and even his thoughts become clearer and faster. He then clenches his fist firmly, testing the newly acquired power in his muscles. Just like that, our MC starts moving much faster than before, his strikes slicing through the air with speed. He then realizes that by improving his basic attributes, his overall combat skills have been enhanced. The panel shows that his physique and spirit have increased and explains how the points were converted. With his new power, he's sure he'll get into the university, but he wonders what his ranking will be. The protagonist then kicks his spear into the air, getting ready to test his strength. Holding the weapon, he decides to go to a martial arts gym to test his new powers. Suddenly, the door to the training room is kicked open with a powerful boot. 3 firefighters rush into the room, leaving our MC completely surprised and confused. The team leader explains that they received an emergency call about a fire at this location. Our MC explains that it was just his power fluctuating, and that everything is fine now. With that, the fire chief understands the situation and tells his team to clean everything up. One of the men is impressed by the young man's strength as our MC waves to them. The fire truck then drives away under the curious gazes of the neighbors. A neighbor asks if everything is okay, and our MC confirms it is before heading to the gym to train. For awakened individuals to become power users, constant and essential training is a must. He arrives at Thunder Hall, one of the most renowned gyms in the entire nation. Unlike other expensive halls, this one is free for all high school students. Inside, our MC sees a group of girls, and one of them looks very familiar. She is Tanky, our protagonist's cousin, who is also there to train. The girl is with a friend, and the two of them seem to be chatting excitedly. At that moment, the protagonist approaches and greets his cousin, asking what she's doing there. Tankyu seems surprised and replies that she's just hanging out with some friends at the hall. He says his goodbyes and tells them to have fun. As he's heading to the training room, the cousin finds it strange and feels like he's changed, and her friend asks who our MC was. Tankyu replies that he's her cousin, Xu Jingming, and that he's also taking the exam tomorrow. Her friend Xiaoya gets all excited and says that with a face like that, he'd be the perfect arm candy to show off. Then Tankyu bursts her friend's bubble by revealing that her cousin's power is only E-class. Another guy scoffs at him for being E-class and taking the exam, but the cousin just thinks the decision is very risky. Tankyu then changes the subject and calls her friends to explore the martial arts hall. The group walks off, and one of them comments that relaxing a bit before the exam is a good idea. Meanwhile, in the training room, the protagonist gets ready to attack a large target with his spear. The young man holds the spear and notices it feels lighter, but he soon realizes it's because his physique has gotten stronger. However, since the exam is tomorrow, there's no time to find a more suitable weapon. He decides to test his maximum strength first, without the help of his superpower. With that, the protagonist takes a deep breath and focuses on delivering his most powerful blow. His hand then grips the weapon with immense force, preparing for the imminent attack. He then strikes forward with all his might, using a swift and powerful motion. The tip of the spear hits the target dead, on with a strong and destructive impact. The target is damaged, and the scoreboard shows 321 calories of force, but the room quickly repairs itself. Our MC is impressed with his physical strength, which has almost doubled and far surpassed that of a common awakened. His eyes glow with power, and he decides to test his new Purple Sky Divine Thunder. At that, purple electricity begins to envelop his hands and body as he concentrates. He attacks the target with the energized spear, and the scoreboard displays an incredible 3,021 calories. Our MC says S-rank power is amazing and already compares to a mid-level user. With lightning still crackling off his body, he says that this isn't even his true limit. Gripping the spear, he plans to combine his strength, superpower, and skills into one devastating blow. He then executes a powerful spinning attack with his fully electrified spear. He continues the motion, creating a large vortex of white and purple energy around him. A sphere of pure power forms at the tip of his weapon, ready to be fired at the target. With a yell, he unleashes all the accumulated power. The attack creates a massive explosion of energy that completely consumes everything in its path. In the main hall, people feel the tremor, and one guy wonders if that was an earthquake. On the same floor, his cousin's group is knocked over by the force of the vibration that shook everything. One of the guys in the group feels the strong energy fluctuation and says it's from a super user. Tanky's friend is shocked because only students train there, and the strongest ones go to a different hall. Curious about the situation, his cousin decides to go investigate the source of all that power. Following the energy fluctuation, the group finds the protagonist walking out of a training room. Surprised, the cousin asks what he was doing in there, and our MC says he was just heading home to get ready. Her friend wishes him good luck, but then quickly pulls the cousin to see the room where the energy came from. They arrive at the room where the power originated and see that the door is completely busted. Upon opening the door, they are left in shock as they see the training room utterly destroyed. The cousin's friend is completely floored by the destruction, saying that not even the memory metal could handle that kind of hit. One of the guys doesn't buy that a student did this, sensing some seriously intense energy in the area. Another one agrees, saying that not even some top-tier prodigy could cause this much damage. Then the friend has a bright idea, suggesting our MC might be some kind of hidden genius who caused all the chaos. But the guys just laugh at her, saying that's ridiculous and he's just an E ranker who's lucky to even hit 300 in strength. The other guy tries to reason that the powerful user must have just used a different hallway, then asks the cousin for her opinion. She touches the wrecked wall and just replies with maybe. Looking completely lost in thought. Examining the damage up close, the girl notices the marks on the wall look like they were made by a spear. At that, a memory of her cousin holding a spear flashes in her mind, making her even more suspicious. With her eyes gleaming, she wonders if his participation in the exam is really him being in over his head after all. The next day, the time for the martial arts exam has finally arrived, and tons of students are gathering. The students hop off the buses, grabbing their weapons and getting ready for the big test. In the middle of the crowd, our main character shows up, carrying his spear on his shoulder with a very confident look. A few students glance at the exam arena and get spooked when they see a unicorn rhinoceros in there. However, the school bully scoffs at them, calling them pathetic if they can't handle a beast like that. Our MC's best friend asks who the arrogant dude is, and he tells him it's Zhou Mingyang. That's Zhou Mingyang, who has a B rank ability and has already advanced to the first level of power. Staring down his rival, our young hero wonders with a smirk which of them is stronger now. Suddenly, a powerful voice yells out, getting the attention of all the candidates present. An officer then introduces himself as Wang Heiyang, the commander-in-chief of the martial arts exam. He climbs onto a military vehicle and explains that the test will last 12 hours in a ruined city. The area is divided into 3 zones, and points are earned by defeating beasts of different levels. With a serious look, he warns the students not to risk their lives for a high score. Our protagonist thinks that before, he would have just stuck to the outer area, but now, he's going all in for the center. They start handing out the exam supplies, and the students line up to get them. The teacher hands our hero his kit and explains that it contains 3 items in total. The kit has a watch for tracking points, a backpack with food, and a safety ball with a shield. The teacher reminds him that using the ball ends the test, but life comes first, and our hero thanks him for the tip. Just then, the protagonist's cousin's friend comes running toward him, shouting his name. She invites our hero to join her team with the class president, promising they'll protect him. A classmate complains, saying the team can only have 5 people and that bringing the MC along will just drag down their score. The class president's friend gets annoyed, saying they already had a deal and can't back out now. Then the other student points at our hero and says he's not willing to carry dead weight during the exam. Seeing his best friend getting worked up, the protagonist stops him and thanks them for the kind invitation. With a smile, he declines the offer, saying he plans to enter the exam arena all by himself this time. The girl and her friend are surprised, but she accepts his decision and just asks him to be careful in there. The group then walks away to find a new member for their team, leaving him behind. The protagonist gives a slight smirk, looking very self-assured. He thinks that even without their help, he's going to get a great score on this exam one way or another. A voice announces the start of the exam as drones activate to broadcast everything live. With that, all the students rush into the ruined city, determined to pass the test. Protagonist's cousin and her group also push forward into the arena. We see another girl with purple hair running with incredible speed among the other candidates. The genius, Zhou Mingyang, leaps into the air with his sword, ready to show everyone his power. Meanwhile, our protagonist also takes a firm step, preparing to jump into action. Our hero runs with his spear, declaring that he's ready for the martial arts exam. He then taps his wristwatch to activate the exam system. A screen pops up, confirming his details and showing the ranking with his rival in first place. With a smile, he notes that the genius has already started scoring points and decides it's time for him to get moving too. So, he decides to skip the outer area and head straight for the central zone of the city. Soon, he enters the abandoned and destroyed buildings that make up the test arena. With his spear in hand, he cautiously explores the area, looking for any danger. Suddenly, the protagonist comes across a student on the ground, gravely injured. He's shocked to see that the classmate didn't even use his safety ball to save himself. Looking at the other guy's condition, he thinks that he could have met the same fate if he didn't have his S-rank power. A bead of sweat rolls down his face as he reflects on the risks of this exam. With no regrets, he kneels down and calls the logistics team to rescue the guy. At that moment, our young hero goes on high alert, sensing a presence approaching rapidly. From the shadows, a paw with sharp claws suddenly appears, stomping hard on the ground. A shadow beast lunges forward, and he realizes they use the survivor as bait for a trap. The protagonist realizes he's walked right into a trap. The shadow beast stares him down with red eyes. He grips his spear and gets into a fighting stance while the monster growls, ready to attack. The creature charges at him with incredible speed. But our young hero dodges the blow with a quick and agile move, evading the beast's attack. He lands safely, watching the creature completely miss and hit the ground instead. That monster is known as a Grookey killer, because of its sharp claws and incredibly strong bite. The beast lets out a furious roar, baring its teeth and glaring at our hero up close. He thinks that these beasts have an intimidating aura that leaves rookies defenseless and frozen in place. That's why wealthy families hire guards to train their kids against these creatures from a young age. The protagonist reflects that he never had that privilege, and this is his first real fight against a beast. The monster leaps at him, its claws and teeth ready to finish him off for good. But our young hero doesn't flinch and holds his spear tight as purple lightning starts to crackle from the weapon. With a swift strike, he hits the beast head-on, using his spear fully charged with electricity. With a confident look, he realizes the creature's intimidating aura had absolutely no effect on him. The beast falls, defeated, and the system notifies him that he's earned 3 points for taking down an unranked shadow cat. He thinks that taking down beasts gives him skill points, but the unranked ones give very few. Since the beast's auras don't affect him, he decides there's no reason to hang around the outer area. The protagonist pushes through the city, defeating various creatures and racking up points. We see him in the middle of an intense battle against several monsters at once. He reflects that he's earned points, but what he's lacking now is real combat experience. His new divine power drains a lot of energy and doesn't even last an hour, unlike his old ability. Since the exam is 12 hours long, he decides to use only his spear to gain combat experience. But suddenly, a massive rhinoceros with red eyes appears in his path. The creature charges furiously, sending a car flying into the air with its powerful horn. Our hero doesn't back down and faces the giant monster's attack as it barrels toward him. With incredible leap, he manages to jump right over the beast, avoiding being hit. Still in mid-air, the protagonist readies his spear for a decisive strike against the rhinoceros. He then lands a powerful blow on the monster's head with his weapon. The massive creature collapses to the ground, completely defeated by the attack. He notices his speed in taking down beasts has increased and wonders if his technique has improved. He checks the system panel and confirms that his spear technique has leveled up to the intermediate stage. He then thinks that if the intermediate level is already this strong, he can only imagine what would happen if he improved it even more. A flood of new, advanced spear techniques begins to pour into his mind. He's amazed by the sheer amount of new information he's receiving all at once. With a confident smile, he can't wait to test his new skills on a first-rank beast. At the same time, the class president's group is walking nearby, and she notices something strange. The girl mentions to her teammates that she thinks she saw our protagonist pass by a moment ago. But one of the guys dismisses it, saying it would be a suicide mission for him to come to this area. The squad leader looks thoughtful and wonders if she was mistaken, and how her friend is doing. Suddenly, one of the group members calls out to them, pointing at the rhinoceros that was taken down nearby. They get closer and see that the fatal wound on its head was made by a spear. Shocked, the girl wonders if the person she saw could have actually been our hero. A teammate doubts he could have taken down the monster, since only a C-rank awakened could pull that off. Then the other one suggests they check his score on the ranking to clear things up. The girl looks at the leaderboard on her watch and is stunned to confirm that it really was him. His classmates start to panic, unable to believe that the MC is in the top 50. Meanwhile, outside the arena, the public is watching the exam and sees that Zhou Mingyang is in first place. The city's director of education praises the genius, saying he's sure to make it into the provincial top 100. He then congratulates the principals of the first and third place schools for their strong performance. But the director criticizes the second school, as its top student is only in 18th place. The principal of the second school gets annoyed and complains that only 8 of his students are in the top 50. Just then, the director stops and asks who Xu Jingming is, because he's never heard that name before. A teacher is shocked to hear the name and shouts that the kid is in the top 50. Into a cold sweat, he wonders if the young man hid his true strength but doubts an E rank could become an S rank. He complains that he can't see the MC, since only the top 10 have dedicated cameras during the exam. Back in the arena, the protagonist is now in the central area, a high-risk zone. He walks through the destroyed streets and ends up stepping on a glass bottle on the ground. While eating a snack bar, he notes that the ranked beasts are smarter and more territorial than the others. Suddenly, his eyes narrow as he senses something approaching fast. A massive tiger with blue eyes appears, smashing through cars and heading right for him. a furk beast that destroys everything in its path. Our hero thinks he got lucky finding such a strong beast right after arriving in the central area. He then charges forward with his spear, excited to test his new combat technique on the creature.